Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm in reasonably good shape.
We thank God. Well, so I guess you've heard this comment of the MPP running mate, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. What do you make of his comments, and is the outrage justified for you?
What do I make of his comment? And then the second part of your...
Is the outrage that have been expressed about his comment justified?
Oh, first on the second part, why not? I suppose what he said was meant for the consumption of the Ghanaian people, right?
We believe so.
Yes, so the Ghanaian people are expressing opinions on what they heard. It's their right to do so. I don't need to add any more.
Okay.
But on the first part, did you ask me whether he was right?
I was asking your own opinion of what he said.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I mean, maybe he was overwhelmed by the occasion, and also by what we know, that Nana Akufo-Addo was opposed to his nomination, and indeed advised Dr. Baumia against it. And so he had to excel himself, and I'm looking for the right turn of phrase to show his deep appreciation that despite Nanado's misgiving, he would publicly say that he supports his nomination, and said, I mean, the kinds of things that Nanado said on the same platform. Yes, so I suspect that was what it was. Otherwise, it was a childish statement.
Childish.
Yes, it was childish. Anyone who can make that kind of statement, one will either have to be ignorant of our history and about Nkrumah's location and role. But maybe it should not really come as a surprise, because earlier in the day, under Dr. K. Guzia, the NPP tradition, so-called UP, NLM, actually passed a law that made it illegal to mention Kwame Nkrumah, to display his effigy. This was passed under a certificate of urgency when Parliament, I think, started in the course of one day. And that was because some people had displayed photographs of Nkrumah or something in Kumasi and was causing a rage. And this was after the regime that took out Kwame Nkrumah, the National Liberation Movement that had taken over the military, working with the American CIA, overthrew Nkrumah and renamed themselves the National Liberation Movement. After they had commissioned Professor Dubois to write an entire history of Ghana that excluded Kwame Nkrumah. what is going on? I mean, all the efforts of President Nana-Addo to erase Nkrumah, to diminish him, and to replace him with his ancestors as the founders of Ghana are all of one part. What Dr. Opoku Prempeh said about Nkrumah should be taken together with all of that. There really isn't much more to say. Now, the abiding anger and contempt that they have for Nkrumah is really born out of a very simple fact. The UGCC had been started as a movement of the educated elite, the Bintu so-called, who had a very simple agenda: to be on the same level with the whites, the British, in the Gold Coast. It was not intended in any shape or form for the common masses. Am I still with you?
Yes, I'm here. I'm listening to you, Doc.
It was not in any way, shape, or form intended for the common masses. The Mama Buloy or Tamfrafo, the people who wore cloth. Because in those days, there was a strict dress code. Educated black Africans wore shorts.
Shorts?
Yes, shorts.
Okay.
And if you were in the upper classes, you could wear trousers.
Okay.
The illiterates, they wore what we call cloth. Good. It was a very strict dress code. If you saw a lady in dress, she was European or an African lady who had formal education. So, Nkrumah's mistake, his error, was first to recognize that the independence movement was going to go nowhere unless it engaged the masses. But as I said, that was not the objective of the UGCC. So that was what brought them into conflict with Nkrumah. And right to this day, the NLM, UP, Progress Party, PSP, now NPP, does not really believe that it is the place and the business of ordinary people to determine how this country is run.
But they will contest that currently because they've subjected themselves to popular elections.
Come again?
They will contest that because they've subjected themselves to popular elections over the years.
Oh yes, they have to. But they found all kinds of ways to deal with that problem, including multiple registration and the stacking of ballot boxes in their strongholds. It's standard practice. This is something that they've developed since the Syria defeats to Nkrumah in 51, in 54, and in 56. That's the strategy that they've developed. They encourage their people to register multiple times. which gives room for ballot stopping. Okay? It's standard practice. And when they made the error of asking for this digital, what do you call it? This voters roll.
The biometric register, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That technically makes it difficult for double registration to exist. They installed a new electoral commissioner who is interested in introducing opacity at every level to allow for the manipulation of electoral results. That is fact. But that's a tangential matter now in relation to what you are talking about. But basically, they believe that Ghanaian voters are stupid. That it is possible to tell them any and everything. And the most recent affirmation of that was this reported statement by the Attorney General. I'm sure it has come to your notice.
Yes.
When they spoke about replacing the object of their persecution, Dr.
Keselato Forsen.
Good. When they spoke about replacing him, and I believe Japan saying that, look, how are you going to do that? It's going to be difficult. And what was the response of this gentleman? That fancies are what? I'm trying to capture what he said. But basically, it reflects their thinking of the ordinary masses. And I know this because in the period up to the 2000 elections, I and some other comrades worked very closely with persons who were in the leadership of the NPP then and now. People like Mark Menu and Alan Chermatin himself. Statement that they made. So look, voters are like, what was it? How did they cut it? They said, oh, voters are like. I mean, this was a statement rendered in Twi. Voters are like women. You just need to say a few sweet nothings to them, and you can have your way with them. You truly believe it. So they're having to submit themselves to this thing is an obligation. How can you have a multi-party democracy without election? So they must go through it. But they found all kinds of ways to overcome that difficulty. But back to our main business. The law that they passed that made it legal was overturned by Kutua Champon, right?
Yes.
Now they know that the legal way is closed. So they must engage in other acts to ensure that Nkrumah is erased. That, Nkrumah actually founded our country. He laid the foundation for practically all the institutions that we have. And beyond that, he had a vision for Ghana based on his understanding that we are coming from a situation of something like 55 ethnicities. Right? And that the only way forward was to build a national identity. So it's building a Ghanaian identity. It was founded on the youth.
Okay.
But he was building, quote unquote, a detribalized youth. But a detribalized youth also is an existential threat to all ethnicities, to all policies that are organized on ethnicities. Right? So if you're a chief of Asante, if you see someone who is engaged on a project to detribalize the youth, you'll be concerned. If you're an Anglo chief, you'll be concerned. If you're a Ghana chief, you'll be concerned. If you're an Achim chief, you'll be concerned. It was this approach that prompted the launching in the first place of the National Liberation Movement, which was basically about Asante Man. And Napo's childish comments appears to have obscured maybe a deeper, appreciation of what went on in Kumasi. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago?
2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Yes.
What you had demonstrated in Kumasi yesterday, for me, the most significant part of it was not what was staged at the Jubilee Park or whatever you call it after this thing, but the event that took place in Menchia, where you had the Asante Man, the Asante sitting in state with all the paramount chiefs of Asante. To signal that they were taking their party back.
Signal that they were taking their party back?
Yes, the NPP starting out as the NLM, having taken over the United Party and expelling all the other elements, the Gashiki Mokwe, the Muslim Association Party, the Anglo, the Northern People's Party, is signaling to the whole country that this is ours. It wasn't just a catchy call on the Asante, which all our parties do when they go to any particular area, right?
Yes.
This was a sitting of Asante Man, and a signal that they have taken their party back. And the NPP has demonstrated that it is possible to create an ethnic party with a national presence.
An ethnic party with a national presence.
Yes. They are present in every part of this country, but they are an ethnic party. There have been spirited attempts to make it a greater Akan platform, right? Particularly by Nanado and his wing, as a basis for them coming in and then attempting to hijack that party. In effect, the nomination of Dr. Opoku Prempeh signals the end of that agenda.
The end of the agenda by President Akufo-Addo to hijack the party.
Hijack the party, bring in a stooge, someone who was alien to the party, but who he had fought on the party, who was going to sit on his lap and be directed. In effect, he was going to serve a third term. The nomination and acceptance of Napoleon Opoku, Opoku Prempeh signals the loss of that agenda. And Dr. Opoku Prempeh's effusions was simply to maybe express his gratitude that beyond his opposition in private, Nana will come on a platform and say that he wholeheartedly supported his nomination. For me, those are the more significant elements of what has gone on in these past few days.
The fact that you see an end to what you saw initially as an attempt by President Akufo-Addo to hijack the party. The President Akufo-Addo essentially is handing the party back to, are you suggesting owners?
That Asante Man is taking back his property. The NLM was founded on the say-so of Asante Man or the Asante Yini. It was headed by his chief linguist. Do you believe that the king will allow his chief linguist to do anything that he does not agree with? No. But if he himself could not be that engaged in it, that would have been incongruous. So that was how that device took care of the problem. That is fact. But actually, you have to go back to the announcement of the campaign supervisory bodies to recognize what I'm talking about the party taking over, about the owners of the party taking over their party after they had allowed it to be hijacked by Nanado for these past 8 years and more, where he was trying to construct a non-Asante core to their party. They are taking the party back. Simplicity. You have to go back, go and examine the list of the persons that they put on their campaign listing. The entire National Executive Committee. They have a supervisory, I've forgotten the various groups in there. But at the top of it, they had a body that included President Kufuor, right? Plus all the other luminaries of that tradition.
I think that's an advisory body, advisory committee or something.
Oh, you can put the advisory in inverted commas if you wish. Especially much like the advice of President Lyndon Johnson to Nkrumah that he should not go ahead and publish his book about neo-colonialism. It was basically an order. When Nkrumah refused, the express order was given for his overthrow, and within a year he was out.
I see. But do you think that Opoku Prempeh has a point when he says that if you compare what President Akufo-Addo has done to that of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, President Akufo-Addo has done far better than him?
Yeah, that's why I say that it was in a moment of childish foolishness.
Childish foolishness?
Yes.
My boy is, I think, 56 years old.
Yeah, but it was childish on that occasion. The point I'm making is that he had to show his gratitude to President Akufo-Addo for coming on stage and formally saying that he overwhelmingly supported, there was overwhelming support for his nomination, when in fact it wasn't so. from where I sit, is there simply signals that Asante-Man has taken back its property. Now, they fully intend to win this election and to wrest control of our country from the quote-unquote the Chedi Mafia. That's the first thing. If they fail, you know who will be blamed for it?
No.
If they fail, you know who will be blamed for it?
No.
Oh, it's simple. The Northerner.
I see.
So, heads they win, tails they win. The most important thing is that they have their party back. They fully intend to win and to wrest control of our lives from the mafiosi from TV. In the event that they lose, they'll heap the blame on Baumia, who never belonged to that tradition, whose father, in fact, betrayed the tradition. Which is why when they are trying to construct a lineage for him, they exclude his father. He goes to Dombo because his father was a traitor to the tradition.
Radio station you can call your own.
Doc, thank you for the journey through history, and thank you for speaking to us this morning.
My pleasure.
Dr. David Pessey is a student of history and politics, sharing his thought with us on what we've heard so far. He calls it the childish foolishness on the part of Napo when he said what he said. He called it childish foolishness. That's Dr. David Pessey. And of course, he took us through the history of where all this started.
Yeah, it's nosy, good baby.
No, we have to take a break, but before we do that, struggling